of WNOV and W293 CX 106.5 FM, Courier Communications, Milwaukee, but are the sole comments of the host and guest of this particular show.
Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Jermaine. Thank you, Michelle.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning again, everyone. Again, the phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Let's continue the conversation we were having, but let me do this. Shout out to Brother Jermaine Rideout.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
It was a great show.
Thank you, sir.
Man, appreciate it. And in spite of the heat, technical difficulties, y'all were real troopers, man. Y'all shouldered through. It was a little windy Saturday.
Little.
So the tent lifted. Me and Rhonda yelled to Jermaine, "It's the rapture!
We on our way.
Up. It's the rapture!"
Y'all Philly.
Oh, man.
The tent lifted?
The tent lifted, man. So, no, that wind was
lifted. One time it knocked everything under it over.
Yeah. I don't know who that sister was out there dancing in that heat.
Yeah.
Man.
What
She
about
must
the
have
brother
had a
with
whole lot of water.
What about that brother with the flag?
Oh, yeah. Hey,
He almost blew away, though.
I was on stage like this. That cat was standing there, man.
I mean, he had a flag big enough to be outside of one of them MPS schools.
No, you know what it reminded me of when I looked out in the audience from the stage?
What's that?
Remember back in the day when TV used to go off?
Oh yeah.
Next to how the
Yeah,
flag.
yeah.
So I looked at that's what I think. He was just standing there holding it like he was Captain America or something.
You
It
know,
was
just
funny.
just imagine being a child in this day and age, or even younger. Some younger than us don't remember when TV went off.
Mhm.
Right. Oh man, that's
Yeah.
2 generations
That's
ago.
2 generations. Bro.
That's
crazy.
when Jermaine them was coming.
Little, yeah.
Cable.
Yeah.
Man. Cable went 24/7.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And people don't realize we used to go off on the AM side here when we went FM. We'd go off here at sundown.
Really?
Yeah.
Because
Well, we didn't go off, but we went to low power. They
Right.
called it low power, where you might hear Chinese do that.
really, there's nothing need to demonstrate.
We were
You
selling.
couldn't just say it.
We were sharing a frequency with
You might.
some dude in China.
With a truck driver sitting over in the corner.
Yeah.
Where is the inappropriate?
Bring it 19, bring it 19.
That was inappropriate.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. Inappropriate.
Which one?
When you was making it, what you were here. Stop it. Stop it right now.
And then you hear a word from the song, love you, a change,
Right, 'cause
baby, I love you.
WAWA would say now switch to FM.
Wow.
Yeah, they would tell you to switch to FM. And the interesting thing about FM, if you talk to the Eagles, they will tell you that FM made them a whole lot of money because FM was doing that soft rock,
Oh yeah,
WWM.
yeah.
I mean, they do jazz. It would be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
was
that's
Ron
true.
Custner when he, yeah.
Yeah.
So they said that when they weren't even touring, but their music was still being played on FM.
They was getting checked.
Right. And so their fans would listen to FM radio. And then FM radio was really the better sound, in terms of what
Yeah.
you got,
Yeah.
stereophonic.
Mhm.
And then this is the thing about MATC that a lot of people probably don't know. They were always cutting edge, right?
Mm.
So when it went to digital, they were digital right away.
So, who you say?
MATC. Yeah. WMVS, is that what I think? Yeah. So anyway.
I do know this: the difference between AM and FM is night and day.
Mhm.
Although, if you listen to 860 on the AM dial, it is one of the best sounding AM frequencies in the city. It really, really is, almost in the state. I mean, the biggest stick in the state we know is, 620, but certainly we're right in there with that. But
But they're also the first. Wasn't they the first radio station?
Yeah, but keep this in mind. AM bounces off, FM goes through,
Okay.
and that's why you get the difference of
Yeah.
And
clarity.
They didn't have
Bounces off of
they
them.
didn't have the same
Right.
commercial or commercial demands that AM had.
Mhm.
So that's why you could, like, AM, everybody sees, like, if you go and buy music digitally, you'll see the radio edit.
Yeah.
Because what is it, about 4 minutes for radio? About 4 minutes. But hey, man, they would play an entire side of the Eagles album. And you
Yeah.
can sit there and listen to the whole album.
Yeah, because normally radio will be like 340.
Yeah.
345 at the longest. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it changed because if y'all remember, the older records was 2-3 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Because yesterday, Sharon was playing the cut, and she did the album cut.
She did the whole version.
She did the album cut. It was
Yeah.
great. All right. So anyway, great weekend. It was hot. It was hot.
Well,
Lord.
it's supposed to subside tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, but today's supposed to feel like 107, bro.
That's funny.
But I also heard some forecasts of rain later on today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the cold front coming through. Because I know Michelle is
Fire.
What was that?
too hot.
Who? No, Keith. Who was that? Ashford and Simpson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Solid as a rock.
Oh, Dick Ashford. Oh boy.
Turn your phone around so you can see.
Know your
I mean,
history.
you'll see.
Right.
You know what? Let me say this. We need to
Make
we need-
that up.
make that
Yeah,
do
put that
that
in the
where that
effect there.
and whenever we go to some
Yeah, that-
historical moment,
Yeah.
we need to do that, and then you make
Can you
sure.
just record it so we can have it and you
I
can just
shall
play
record,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why I
what.
recorded and put
Yeah.
it in the thing.
But make sure, because I know you're gonna run down there and try to copyright it. Make sure
I was just about to say,
our names on there
shouldn't,
too.
I was say, shouldn't we get that copyright?
Should we get
Hey,
some of those?
hey,
I
Jack.
want a point.
Talk to my lawyer.
What would be a reasonable about a point? 2
Yeah.
points?
A point?
Oh.
No, seriously.
2 points?
No, you pushing it, Jack. You
Well,
pushing my love a little bit too far.
Dude, like Pebbles. As good as Pebbles could sing, Pebbles was she was a businesswoman, man.
Had to be.
Had to be.
Had to be.
Anyway, let me get the caller. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning, fellas and crew sister.
Good morning.
Okay, I was awakened about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Take us off speaker, brother.
Oh, sorry. All right, we good.
Yes, sir.
I got a quiz for y'all right quick. Bob, the great songwriter Bob Dylan, said that a certain writer, I'll give you a hint, he is technically black, but Bob Dylan said that he is the greatest living poet. Who is this writer?
Technically black. That's a clue.
Elvis?
Nope.
You calling that a clue? Technically black?
Well, I mean, obviously he ain't black.
He is technically black.
What
What
does
do that
mean?
mean?
Is he really black?
Yeah,
or-
what did
That
mean?
means he's high yellow.
Smokey?
There you go. Good job. All right. Now, right out.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask you, could you play the song? Because I couldn't go to sleep until I figured out why would Bob Dylan say that Smokey Robinson was the greatest living poet. And I came up with the poem, and it's called A Fork in the Road. And I'm humbly asking if you would play that for the people.
Well, Doc, if I play that song, you might fall asleep on the radio.
No, I'm up.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Because you just said that you couldn't sleep.
Yeah,
That was last night. That was
think
2 o'clock in the morning.
Smokey wrote a lot of great music for Motown. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I think the fork in the road is what made Bob Dylan say this guy is the greatest living poet.
after blowing in the wind is like. Now it's interesting because I think you remember the group the Weather Underground back in the
Yes.
60s. They got their name from a Dylan song, and the line from the song is that you don't need to know the weather to know which way the wind blows.
That is
And
true.
they took the name Weather Underground, which is a
Okay.
great
Dylan
kind of
was a great,
segue into.
is still alive, a great poet, but he gave the title to Smokey Robinson. And I believe after he heard the song called A Fork in the Road, he decided
Well, we
that
do
Smokey
know
was great.
that,
So, right out, dig it up.
Yes, sir.
Blowing in the Wind, in some ways inspired a change is going to come.
Really?
Yeah. If you watch A Night in Miami, and Sam Cooke is kind of like, I wish I would have wrote Blowing in the Wind, and I don't know if it was Malcolm or somebody else said, man, write your own, and he ended up writing the changes going to come. So,
All right, I'm out. I got to take a shower.
Don't fall asleep in the shower. Listen to the song, though.
Can I let's get back to what we were discussing before Michelle ended her program.
Excuse me, just quickly. Jackie just came in here with this. Can you hand that to Michelle and just see if that's the second appeal is what I was told.
Okay.
I see.
So let's talk about this. There was a young man a few years ago. He was running for president of the National Baptist Convention, and he was in Milwaukee campaigning. He was over at Tabernacle Community Church, I think. Don Darius Butler was pastor then, and I came up to him and I asked him. I said, "Are you concerned about the Calvinism that's part of our theology, as a convention?" First of all, he looked at me like, "What are you talking about? Who's Calvin?" And and so I was talking about how this is something Dr. Demetrius Williams penned in his book, and I stole it. He says that we are so concerned about salvic religion that we're not about the prophetic. and we're not about justice. And I think that is the challenge, not only for the.
But what does that mean before you go?
Salvic is that I'm so concerned about my individual salvation that everything else is secondary. And if we ever get to issues around social justice, it's like it just has to happen. So George Floyd forced everybody to make a statement, right? Everybody to come out in support of police reform and wanting justice. But I do not see, and man, I've been a Baptist all my life, and I have been affiliated with the National Baptist Convention USA all of my life. I have never seen where there's ever been an approach when it comes to this idea of social justice. And what is the role of the church when it comes to social justice? We do the little partisan piece every year, every election year. All the candidates will come and they'll speak at the National Baptist Convention. I'm sure, I don't know if they do it at Kojic. I'm sure they do it at the AME church. They hit all of the fraternities and sororities, right? I mean, but where is this thing for social justice? And so the fact that the convention would be so willing to basically sell its soul for $300,000 is not surprising, just because of just the approach in the past. I think there's another dynamic out there too, and is this idea of the divinity school seminary preachers as opposed to guys who may or may not, who've done a different form of religious education.
Kind of what Jeremiah Wright talked about.
What he talked about. And we saw a little bit of this at American Baptist College about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I don't know if it was pre-COVID or post-COVID, where Bishop Yvette Flunder, openly queer clergy person, they every year at American Baptist, they do the Garnet Nesbitt lecture series. So you bring in the greatest preachers in the country come in for that lecture series. And they brought her in to do a workshop. So the first year, nobody said anything, right? The second year, there's this very conservative Baptist preacher, and I cannot think of this dude's name, out of Arkansas, and who's not even affiliated with the college, began to protest. And they protested that you had this openly gay woman who was there and in effect teaching a class. And his opposition to her being a female preacher, but then her being openly gay, it caused some controversy. And there is last year when at convention, or I don't know if it was mid-session, when Dr. Gina Stewart, who's a great preacher out of Memphis, was invited to preach. I think she's the first woman ever to preach.
And I actually talked about that on my show.
Yeah, and people weren't there. Oh, they had another meeting. Right. There was a problem with the stream. So people thought that there was some sabotage. But that's the challenge to the church and to the Black church, is what prophetic responsibility do we have when it comes to justice? And this is an issue of justice. This DEI debate with Target is a question of justice. And what should we be about as a people? We're into good church, Lord, and I love good church, but we do that at the expense of justice, right? And I don't know if we can continue.
So what does that mean? We do good church at the expense.
We have great church services. I mean, the music is great. The preaching is outstanding.
So are you saying that some of that time needs to be allocated to social justice issues, a message from the pulpit?
I think that one, obviously is
mean?
Preached from the pulpit, but it's also practiced in the streets. And so I don't know even what they're talking about outreach. What kind of outreach are they talking about doing, even with that amount of money? I don't know. Is that outreach to grow the church?
I mean, it's $75,000. Like, what? You're doing nothing. That's not even. I mean, You drop a number like $12 million a day in spending.
And just that target.
Just that target.
Just the target.
And you thought that was a starting point for you. It's embarrassing. It really is, but more so than what that amount of money. Let's just say they gave them, $300 million. But you knew somebody else was at the table having these discussions. So how do you not even pick up a phone and call and say, hey, bruh, they've reached out to us. We didn't initiate it, but they calling us. Because I'm going to tell people, you was dealing with Keith. And I've had to do this before. Don't call me because you don't want to deal with Keith. Yes, we are impacted, but I know who either started the conversation, who's been at the table, who y'all been dealing with, and now you're going to work around. And then I'm going to pay attention to what Keith asked for. Does it make sense? You said you was going to do X, Y, and Z. We're asking you to keep your word about what you said.
But I don't know, were they ever committed to that boycott? I don't know.
They literally put out a whole thing. It was a whole press release, a whole campaign about how they were going to, dedicate $2 billion to increasing Black entrepreneurs.
I'm asking, was the National Baptist Convention,
Mm-hmm.
Churches of God in Christ,
Right.
AME Church, CME Church. I won't even get into the Pentecostal churches because I know that in a lot of ways that's not their lane. So were they supportive of the boycott? Because I don't remember any press releases coming out saying that they were going to boycott Target. What I'm also really amazed at is, other than Roland Martin, I have not seen. I checked the Root this morning. It wasn't in the Root. I checked the Griot this morning. It wasn't in the Griot. I checked the Chicago Defender.
Because you know what? You got to step on your own pastor's toes. Many of these people that run these organizations, they are affiliated with these churches. And so if I start talking about it, I got to go turn around and go look at Pastor so-and-so and so, or who supports certain things that we do. When you start talking about Black media, Black-owned press, I can go through the Courier. And, they had that long-standing section with the pastors and, little church write-ups. You start talking about them people, those are advertising dollars.
And I don't, and that was the fear that some pastors had when young men or women would be called to the ministry, is where they're going to go. Now, I know how important the Bible is to Black people. Okay, the way Black people act like we wrote the Bible, and so that's problematic in and of itself in terms of where worse. I think it's also where your leadership goes and what leadership has been exposed to. Chances are, if you're going to Garrett Theological Seminary, which is a divinity school, highly academic, you're going to be exposed, or Vanderbilt or Duke, you're going to be more exposed to progressive ideas, as opposed to maybe going to a Bible college where the emphasis is on learning and teaching and preaching the Bible. And you see the difference. And then, because I like to say, the benefit of having a Bible college experience, but then also being exposed to Catholic theology, it's real different. I get in trouble for it. I get in trouble. Sister said I'm waiting for Bible 101 when we were at the concert, and I get frustrated because I remember somebody asked me, "What kind of preacher are you?" I said, "One that reads," and that becomes frustrating because what we place the premium on is people's knowledge or their ability to be able to regurgitate the Bible, not taking it in any real context, not understanding the history. And then, even for Black people, and I have this anthropological argument with Black people, we are not the original Hebrew people. That is not scientifically valid. We are African people who have adopted a European religion. And because of white supremacy and white chauvinism, what happens is then we want to be the very thing that we hate. So if we say we're the original people, we are the original people when you think about 400,000 years, right? The first thing that we called human beings was found in East Africa. But this idea that such a small group of people and that we've come out that people, no, that people came out of us. And what I mean that they came out of us is whenever we did the land bridge and people began to migrate and they began to evolve as Homo sapiens, so that becomes my frustration. Then in all of that, then we miss that Jesus required that we be just. We missed it. I've just put justice not even on these things on the social level, just how we interact with each other.
But
we're supposed to be just.
And just going back, because I had to go look it up just to make sure I remember this, because I had this discussion in class one day, the black Hebrew Israelites, and how this whole thing, some of this stuff starts.
I want to pick it up after the break.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, somebody said because it was in partly started because of a vision that someone had, that they had been shown that this was the case. And that was it. That was all it took to like start a whole movement.
Mm-hmm.
And people get mad at me because I'm like, do y'all? So I just woke up and said I had a vision. And now we all doing it?
Yeah. And I think that a lot of that is just a response to the conditions that we find ourselves in. And how do we deal with our marginalization? You're listening to Community Voice. Boy, this is deep for Monday. Okay. Caller, I'm going to grab you after the break. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back.
voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, Michelle.
Huh?
I was just sitting here thinking, man, I love you. Caller, welcome to the program.
He's so full.
Love.
Wait for the punchline.
I love
Hello?
you. Yeah, good morning.
Hello. Yeah, good morning to you.
Oh.
Whenever you bring up these religious topics, I have to find my way in some kind of way.
You always do.
Right. And you were talking about the Baptist convention, which I've played a lot of them, hung out around a lot of them. And, you know, and you brought up some of the great preachers and some of the best preachers coming, especially when they do their late night, you know. The late night at the Baptist convention, you ain't been to no service until you go to a late night. But listen, I'll tell you something. When you talked about the queer pastor and the guy came out to protest that. See, Keith, we going absolutely too far. It's sort of like going to the, what's her name, Beyonce Mass, where those women, the womenists come together and they, you know, the Beyonce Mass, man, they talking about her as a God being a her and all of that stuff. And I had to go back and I looked at a couple of videos of the service and I said, these people, and it's been a while back, I don't know what they're doing now. I said, these people have lost their mind. We have went so far, man, to do your own thing. We're doing exactly what those people did when God turned his back on Israel, you know, because we always following after other gods when we already got the God. That's why I tell people, the most dangerous thing to do is after grandmama and great grandmama and all them that gave you the stuff for you to go out seeking something greater, because you wind up believing in no God. You know what I'm saying? So and that's a dangerous.
No,
yeah.
I don't understand. Here's my problem sometimes with Christianity is that here it is, it's supposed to be
So
all.
why do you have a problem if you claim
I'm
Baptist,
going
man?
to tell you what my problem is.
You're treason to your own thing.
If it didn't matter to Jesus, why does it matter to us?
What do you mean it didn't matter to Jesus? It did matter to Jesus.
Give me, and I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole, but
Are we gonna go? So are we talking socialism or what?
Give me, well, yeah, Jesus. There was a certain level of socialism, and I would suggest that you read the 2nd chapter of Acts, and you will see socialism at its best.
Listen, I don't gotta go that far into Acts.
Yes, you
I
do.
can see where Jesus set down 5,000 men, not including women and children, and fed the multitude. You understand? And guess what? And took up baskets to give away the money. That's socialism. The disciples said we got to feed them lest they faint by the way. So Jesus,
Isn't
not
it
today.
interesting
You know,
though that God chose to reveal the resurrection to women first?
no, that don't mean anything. You
Oh,
talking
why
about when
doesn't it
Mary
mean-
went to the grave? But see, we leaving socialism now till we finna go use women. Women is another discussion. Do they belong to the to be a part of the clergy or not?
They
Okay,
should be.
that's a different thing than socialism, because I see Jesus knowing medical. He had his own medical deal. You know, he gave health care. He gave health care. He gave blind to Brian Barnabas that was sitting by the
One of the things that Jesus really pushed against was, in particular, the religious institutions' lack of response to the needs of the people. And
never did he push against that part.
Yes, he did.
Against,
He did push against that. You need to read. You need to read. There's a great book.
I done read the
about
whole book: Genesis, Exodus,
no, not that
Numbers,
book.
Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges,
Not
Ruth,
that book.
Esther, Nehemiah.
But you just an example. You just an example of what I'm talking about.
No, you brought that out.
No, that's a
I
catechism.
don't display that.
That's a catechism. But I'm saying, if you really read, what was Jesus's first sermon? He talked about liberating people, giving sight to the blind. And he wasn't just talking about physically blind people. He was talking about emotionally, spiritually blind people. It was about the liberation. It was about meeting the needs of folks. If you look at Matthew 25, it is a socialist blueprint of what we should be about as Christians. No, I'm not kidding.
Hey, listen, brother.
Just read it, bro.
Socialism means everybody equal.
Everybody
give everybody equal.
Isn't everybody equal in the eyes of God?
Hey, look here.
Isn't everyone equal in the eyes of God?
No,
socialism does not mean
no,
not mean
everybody is not equal. Besides, hold on. Let me correct that. Let me. I like that challenge. That was good. That was a good challenge. Yeah. Is everybody equal in the eyesight of God? Everybody is not equal in the eyesight of God. Because some sin and some don't sin. Some believe and some don't believe.
Everybody equal in the eyes of God.
Everybody's equal.
Is everybody equal in the eyes of God?
Who told you everybody was equal in the That's some man-made proverb.
No.
Wait. No man-made proverb.
No.
Don't even go there because that.
Well, give me a scripture where it says everybody's equal.
So everybody's not equal. Who's not equal in God's eyes?
Brother, is there a difference between good and bad? I'm finna good and bad. The bad is not equal with the good.
But no. Hold on.
Apostle Paul said that all have sinned.
I don't want to hear nothing about Dr. Paul. I might as well just dig into Dakes. And Dakes commentary
you don't want to hear about Jesus.
Probably got his commentary.
You don't want to hear about Paul. Who we got left?
Meats.
Hold on. You got to remember Paul's commentary. You have to be able to rightly divide that.
I don't know what is rightly divide. All of us have sinned. Would you admit to that?
Right.
Of course.
Okay. So if all of us have sinned, that means in the eyes of God, except Michelle.
No. Because once you come to the knowledge, look, if that's the case, we all were born into sin and shaped in iniquity.
No. That is Psalms 51. That is David responding to the jam he got himself into.
Listen.
That is
brother,
not.
You got listen.
So
okay.
If
you know what I'm going to do for you.
If all is equal in the eyes of God, then why aren't all equal in the eyes of people?
All are not equal in the sight of God. If that's the case, God wouldn't allow the Israelites to go in and slaughter.
The Israelites were the only people on the planet. You do realize that, right?
Today.
You do realize that there were other people on the planet other than the Israelites.
Can I explain something to you? Of course there were. Okay. Not explain, but let me.
Did God care about them?
Of course there were.
Did God care about them?
Of course he did.
So then everybody's equal in the eyes of God.
No. They didn't have the passageway. See, listen, you know why Christians are hated? You know why everybody want to fight Christian? Even the man that say he a Baptist want to fight his own self. You ever seen a man beat his own self to death?
You just
no. You ever seen a man get in the mirror and just start punching himself? It's too painful for him.
All right, Meech.
Beating himself.
Let me get the next call.
Come on, man. You know when you start something, then you run away.
No, I don't run away. You said it all.
Because I never got a chance to draw my point. You distracted me.
Okay, man, my bad.
I never got a chance to draw my point. You distracted me, and you
never answered the question.
What was the question again? I
called with a question. In the eyes of God.
And I said, we're not.
Okay, appreciate you. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Well, my thing is if everybody is not created equal, then that means that it's a whole lot of people up in heaven that should not be there who gain their wings the wrong way then. How about that? The other thing is if we're going to bring that up, let's talk about King Solomon. Because, King Solomon not King Solomon, I guess Jesus or God allowed King Solomon to have 700 wives, 300 nickel holes. Let's not talk about all them outside babies. And they did not have no EBT or no Planned Parenthood in that time, which means he was not in their lives neither. We ain't going to talk about that. And the other thing I wanted to say, too, because I know the queer keeps coming out, nobody in the queer community want to see any of you with your clothes off who keep bringing it up. Find who you need to be and maybe concentrate on that other side of the mattress. Because a lot of y'all keep bringing the queer up, and I'm starting to think y'all kind of zesty-dusty. Because them people minding their own business. Yep. But for some reason, you keep bringing them up. And the other thing I want to say, stop that in-house home and in the church. Y'all know how to go outside them church doors. Y'all always started inside the house of the church. See, that's why all y'all be getting caught up. And you pastors, too, because a lot of y'all got them outside babies, too.
All right, man.
But y'all be sitting at the pulpit.
Why you
All right.
Stop,
why you
stop
trying to get rid
hoeing
of
when you preach. Because some of y'all ain't right.
Appreciate
And y'all
you.
don't clean and wipe neither. Y'all have yourself a good day. It's hot outside and y'all take a chill pill. Bye-bye.
Why you sound thank you, sir.
Yvette Flunder said something though. She said, "You know what?" And she was going after the closeted clergy, and she said, "You know, your bedroom needs to line up with your pulpit."
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, Keith.
Hey,
On
what's
the
happening?
note, this is Mr. Indiana, man. Congratulations on the good win last night.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah,
And I had forgot that Jason Tatum had went down with the same thing. All three of them had calf injuries, and they're playing on those calves, and they all three of them blew out their Achilles. And when you saw him, you go like, dude, he ain't getting up. He ain't getting up. You just knew it. That's tough. There's a great article in the Times this morning about just the wear and tear on players and how the NBA is going to have to take a look at some things because their stars are getting hurt.
well, I mean, didn't Kevin Durant have that similar injury?
Yep.
Well, good series. I'm glad that one thing they didn't let OKC celebrate on their floor. You know, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, and look, let's just keep it real. Whether Halliburton played or not, I thought OKC was going to win that game.
I don't know about that.
I agree.
You could tell, at the end of after the injury, they were still playing on adrenaline, but then the numbers catch up with you, and OKC just had too much.
Yeah,
Well, one thing that I will say is that those guys have never been beaten 2 times in a row. So that goes. Yeah, good series.
Yeah, well, the NBA's happy they got 7 games.
Yeah. All right,
man.
Go ahead.
Appreciate you.
All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, this idea that all are not equal in the eyes of God.
But I actually went to go look for scripture, just out of curiosity. Genesis 1:26-28. We are all equally made in God's image.
Yeah.
Rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord made them both. Proverbs 22. All are born under sin, all are born under sin, have sinned, all fall short of the glory of God. Romans.
She over there reading the word. I got to give offering on that one.
Genesis 1:27. The Bible indicates that men and women are equal in the eyes of God as they are both created in his image. I mean, so there are tons of references to equality in relationship.
And that's what I always hear people act as if, and I'm sorry, Al, I do have to make this reference, is that, at the end of the creation story, the last thing created was man, right? Human beings.
Right.
And God looked at all his creation and said it was good. There were no exceptions. So when I ask people, well, queer people, God created them too. Black people, God created them. Hindus, God created them. So this idea that there are people who are better than other people is really rooted. Well, every culture will have that they condescend to other cultures, that their culture is superior, that their God is superior, that their religion is superior. But the reality is that because we all are human, which means that we are flawed, that there is this equality. And you know what the great equalizer is? Death. That is the great equalizer. Everybody gonna die. And
please don't start that.
Wow.
Because Jermaine said everybody ain't gonna die.
Hold on.
No, we ain't gonna
We're not finna go down. No,
hold
on. We're not finna go down this rabbit hole like Keith said at the beginning.
He said everybody wasn't gonna
hold
die.
on, wait a minute. I'm going to explain.
What is that?
No. See,
I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole that Debo is trying to find me down here. I'm not even going to explain because I know what Debo is doing.
No,
Debo's trying to create this rabbit hole and make it more of a
Keith
truck stop.
It, I saw you.
Debo trying to make this a truck stop.
Making the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, he's trying to make it a Grand. You ain't finna listen,
when you
man.
said
Fool me once,
the great equalizer.
Fool me twice.
His ears raised up when you said.
Let me do this. Let me do this, Jermaine. The asterisk. I'll give you an asterisk if you're not raptured. But everybody else,
thank you.
You gonna die.
Yeah.
What does that mean if you're not raptured?
Well,
no.
See,
No.
hold on.
Everybody may not know.
Dana,
you gotta say
Dana,
something.
open the door, so I gotta say
Everybody
something.
don't know.
Everybody don't know that word. Everybody don't use the word.
Well,
rapture.
actually, in reality, rapture is not even
Really,
in the Bible.
Right? It's a concept.
It's not even in the Bible. That word rapture is not even there. Like you can search far few.
But you know what? You know what's so ironic, because I'm not necessarily subscribed to the rapture.
Yeah.
But we used to sing this song.
What is the rapture?
I'll tell you about it in a minute.
The rapture?
No, hold on.
The second coming of Jesus.
Right.
Means that those
the dead in Christ will
rise again, and then those who are living will rise.
Right.
That's what it is to be raptured.
Thank you. So simple. Go ahead.
So we used to sing this song.
But Keith, now I gotta ask the question.
Here go Debo.
No. It makes sense to me. To me,
okay.
I just need Keith to define it. You know, he explain it to me.
Okay, then what you need?
The dead in Christ will rise, and those that are living will rise.
Those that remain.
So does that mean that those that are living will have to die, because your physical body?
Well, it's the time of tribulation.
Is not what's
all
going
right. I knew
it's
we
the time of tribulation, bro. It's the time of
we used to sing this song.
But Keith, you didn't answer the question.
I'm
your
not going
physical
to.
body is not going to
Clearly
heaven.
doesn't want to, Debo.
Yeah, because it gets into the
right.
So
what
song.
Keith,
what song was it?
Is your physical body? So is there folks?
Debo, you're being a bully right now. You're being a religious bully.
Caught up to me.
No, I'm asking a question. I really want to know.
You see, he ain't trying to answer.
Yeah. We used to sing, and I had no concept
to meet him. Up to meet him.
What's the song?
Joy and happiness will be mine.
So that's a whole
meeting glory, tell the story.
Yeah. Caught up to meet him in the air.
But what happens is, and I think what you were going to right before we went to break, when you talked about the who is it, the Black Israelites?
Yes, Hebrew Israelites.
This dude should have been a politician, man, because he smooth stepped around me.
Yeah, he smooth. He just walked away.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta
let
it.
You didn't ask.
Larry Holmes was fighting.
He moved again.
Larry Holmes,
that boy good.
No. Larry Holmes was fighting Michael Spinks.
Okay.
Larry Holmes hit Michael Spinks so hard, I felt it at home.
Okay.
Like Michael Spinks kind of buckled, looked at him, turned his back, and walked away.
Yeah, he didn't want no more.
And so after the fight, they said, "What were you thinking about when he hit you? You turned and walked away." He said, "I've been there too long."
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's time to leave.
Yeah,
so you're not going to answer the question, in other words.
I am not. The Black Israelites.
Smart man, Keith.
I'm just saying that it is interesting when people have this conversation and they, as you say that, no, we were not. We were the first people, not the first Hebrews.
And the Hebrews were not the first people.
Right.
Yeah.
And so trying to get people to appreciate, and I've had to walk away literally from the conversation because you can't. And I'm like, so do you know how all this starts? Because a brother said they had a vision.
And a lot of it is response to the racism. And we'll pick it up after the break.
Wait, question before you go, because this is bothering me. Who cares who's the first?
There are a lot of
Oh my
people.
God.
There are a lot of
No,
people.
I mean, because I
think about in real life.
Understand.
Who cares who's the first?
Yeah, like who cares?
Who cares that you're the first in track? Who cares that you're the first in terms of the NFL, NBA championship?
Right.
Of course, people care about who's the first.
No, but
and
why,
if you're the first, that means
you're
that
special.
you might be.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
you're better.
So you're better than everybody else.
It's like when you hear
You're
and you used to
chosen,
hear
you're
black
preferred.
people run around saying that Jews are God's chosen people.
Yeah.
What about the rest of us?
Yeah.
Or
and look what we just said today. For the first time in the 200 and something year history of the state of Wisconsin, we have a black woman who is Miss Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So why is it important that we mention that first?
I didn't think. Wow. I
You're
thought 2
listening
was the loneliest number, but I guess not.
We'll be right back.
AURN News.
I'm Jamie Jackson. Gas prices are rising again, and this time it's happening after the usual summer peak. The increases come as the world waits for President Donald Trump's decision on whether the U.S. will join Israel in its airstrikes against Iran. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of gas is now $3.21, up from $3.13 just a week ago. A month ago, it was $3.17. In California, prices remain high at $4.65 a gallon, holding steady from last week, but still down from nearly $4.90 a month ago. Texas saw a jump to $2.83. In Pennsylvania, prices rose to $3.36, up from $3.27 last week. The uncertainty over possible U.S. military action could add to volatility in the energy market. Even without an official announcement, oil traders are watching closely for signs of any sort of escalation. For AURN News, I'm Jamie Jackson.
Here's your updated forecast. An extreme heat warning remains in effect. We'll see mostly sunny skies here for today with a high in the mid-90s and heat indices over 100. Winds out of the southwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Tonight, chance for showers and storms, cloudy, a low near 71. By Tuesday, chance for showers and storms, cloudy, high of 81 degrees. Wednesday, another chance for thunderstorms, cloudy, high of 72. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on AM 860, The Voice.
It's almost time for Summerfest, Milwaukee's biggest party on the lakefront with over 600 artists across 3 weekends, including Key Glock, Ken Carson, Lil Tecca, plus Juicy, Big X the Plug, Bryson Tiller, K-Cam, Mariah the Scientist, and more. Don't miss Milwaukee Summerfest presented by American Family Insurance on June 20 through 22, June 27 through 29, and July 4 through 6. Get tickets now at summerfest.com.
Hey, Milwaukee, turning 65 or confused about Medicare? Whether it's you or a loved one, navigating Medicare can be very overwhelming. I'm Christopher Patterson, a licensed agent with the knowledge and experience to guide you every step of the way. From enrollment to finding the right plan, I help you maximize your health coverage and benefits, getting you the care you deserve. Call me today at 262-794-1320. That's 262-794-1320. Medicare made easy with help you can trust.
860 AM 106.5 FM. WNOV, The Voice.
Listen, everybody. Listen up good now. Listen, everybody. Listen up good now.
You're inside Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM. with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back. And again, the phone line's open 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250.
Did B say something about Jesus made a basket? Somebody said, when did Jesus make a basket? What was that conversation? Did I miss that?
No.
I was looking for something. Okay. I don't know. Speaking of hooping, can y'all mention the man from King?
Mike Wilkes.
Oh, Mike Wilkes.
Yeah.
Former NBA player.
Hit me up. Like, make sure we shout out this brother.
Man. He's assistant coach there with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Mike.
Yep.
Didn't he went to King, didn't he?
Yeah, I think
He did go to King.
He went to King, yeah.
And then Willow Newell is the name of the first Black Miss Wisconsin.
Nice.
So folks is like, say their name. I'm gonna get out of here because I can't take another second. But I've gotten a couple of comments asking me to please mention a wine tasting event that's happening. Is it okay if I do that?
Oh man, I was just reading this thing where they said I was boring. Go back.
Oh, say what? What happened?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they said I was boring, so I need to go back. No, go on, do what you gotta do. I gotta read the comments.
Oh, okay.
All right, put it back up there.
But
Why you turn my mic off? No, Keith was reading it because he was seeing the captions there, and somebody said, "Yeah, I'm tuned in to hear Boring Keith's perspective on Target's boycott."
You know, well, why are you tuned in? I don't understand that part. Like, help me with that.
Oh,
part.
I know why.
Why?
Because I elicit hate.
Hate.
And because I'm a hater.
Hate you give.
The hate you give. Hey, man. Hey, I'm not a victim. I am a volunteer.
I hate you.
And thank you, brother, for quoting me in Michelle's program.
And he gave you credit, too.
Yeah, gave me credit. That's all Michelle looked like.
Wait, what happened? How my name come up? What they say? Because if I need to check it in, what's going on? Do I need to say something?
Don't that remind you of the family member run in? It's all over. What I miss?
No, they didn't say what I missed. They run in and say, "What you say? What he say?" They be like, "Ma."
It'd be like Kennedy. I'm amazed at what you can and cannot hear. And the other thing you whisper, she can hear. You read real loud. What you say?
Wait,
you heard what I said.
Take a look at the screen.
Oh my God.
Mike Wilk, thanks, Michelle. T. Renee Carson.
No, on the screen, the picture. Down at the bottom of the picture.
What is that?
Happiness donut. Everyone not gonna die. Let me rewind that.
There go Debo.
No, it's in the
Why
caption.
you point that out, Debo?
Because
you pointed it out because you want to be messy.
He lived for it. He lived. I just want to be clear. There were a number of sisters who I saw at Juneteenth who agreed with me that y'all brothers is messy. And that y'all is all Ralph Trez fans.
And I bet you
there was a
sisters,
ton of sisters that agreed with me that y'all messy.
And I bet you,
and Ralph Trez.
And I bet you those sisters,
a ton,
would be on the couch right
and
now.
their husbands were standing right there when they said it, because they was like, he could be in the club too.
Well, he probably didn't want to say nothing.
That came and left her chair, the lawn chair.
Oh, that chair that looked like it was from the 1960s.
Yeah, did she ever?
That metal one with
I don't know. Yeah, remember the one that held up? Like, can you still buy those straps?
I mean, though, you do know what a chair represents nowadays, right?
What's that?
All Keith got to do is throw his hat up in the air. He throws his hat up in the air. That chair coming out.
But look, that was like, yeah, I didn't know why the white lady left that over there. But when we went to the comedy show last night, it was the comedian was taking pictures with people after his set. So this brother was with a white woman. It was his wife, girlfriend, whatever. And they was like, let's get a picture. So when they took the picture, so the comedian is in between I forgot how it was decided, but anyway, they was with him. And somebody said, "Happy Juneteenth."
Reparations.
Oh my God. Me and these sisters standing next to me almost passed out. It was so funny. I was like,
Let me shout out because I know he listens. Got a chance to bump into Oshie.
You saw Oshie was in town?
I saw Oshie. He was at Juneteenth. I bumped into Oshie. Yes, I did.
Let me say something. This sister came by the table and I got to talking to her, and no, somebody brought her to the table. Somebody brought her over specifically for me to meet her. She flew in from North Carolina for our Juneteenth.
Wow.
She used to work for Miller Coors.
Okay.
And she moved, went to the parent company Reynolds or whatever. And she said, left my kids at home with their daddy, my husband, and came. She said, I love Juneteenth in Milwaukee.
I remember her.
Yeah, and I thought that was the coolest thing. I said, what else did you come for? She said, this is the only reason I'm here.
You gotta appreciate it.
I came for Juneteenth.
You gotta appreciate it. Back in the day. I tell the story. Freddie Mad Dog Carter, he played for the Bucks. And they were here for about 2 years. He's a graduate of the Mount, and then his brother-in-law was also a student there, and I got a chance to meet his wife. And she said, "Oh, you from Milwaukee?" I go, "Yeah." She said, "What's that thing they do when y'all just shut down all those streets and it'd be like thousands of people?" Now this is back early 80s, right? I was like, "Oh, that's Juneteenth Day." I know they do. What is it? Was it Bud Milliken?
Yep, Bud
down
Milliken
in Chicago. But it ain't our Juneteenth, man.
And I mean, and so of course, second longest running. But my soror, my line sister, she lives in Texas, so they were going to Galveston.
Yeah, I was about to say about
And
Texas.
down there they say Jubilee Day. And so there, and then I got pictures people were sending from Harlem. They Juneteenth Day was sick. It was literally shoulder to shoulder. Like you could even have a good time, even though they was having a good time, because you literally was touching the person next to you. It was so many people at their event.
And and then do we call it, because a lot of people call it Freedom Day now?
Yeah, Freedom Day.
And it I tell you what though, it got hot. So about 1 o'clock, I didn't have any energy to say Happy Juneteenth. When we started the parade, Happy Juneteenth, we was just all down Atkinson, down Key Drive, Happy Juneteenth.
I have
About
never
noon,
been
it was
in
like,
the Juneteenth parade.
What up?
And got to say Happy Juneteenth.
What up?
Like when I worked for Lena, I drove. I walked in the parade one time because I think I was something like being honored, or I was something in the parade, so I walked. But I'm gonna mention this before I get out of your hair. I'm just saying. The NAACP AXO wine tasting fundraiser is happening on June 25th. That's on Wednesday. This special event supports an incredible program that transforms the lives of high school students in our Milwaukee community and beyond. Each year, high school students across the country start a journey to sharpen their skills through the NAACP Afro Academic, Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics, hence the name AXO. From visual arts and businesses to performing and culinary arts, these students are going to participate in projects. They will compete in North Carolina this year at the NAACP National Convention. And we have a student from Milwaukee that will be competing. And we have to figure out a way to pay for the students to compete. So this isn't for this year. This is for next year. The goal is to take as many students that have talent that want to try to participate. They win scholarship money. It is an amazing opportunity. And so if you are someone who likes wine, have thought about trying wine, there is a wine tasting event. I think more than 15, 20 wines will be there over at the Brown Deer Boathouse, 7835 North Green Bay Road from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's a ticketed event because it is a fundraiser. You can go on Eventbrite, look it up, or you can just come and they'll take care of you on site. But this is something that Dr. Myers is involved in. I am a volunteer with AXO. A number of other groups are coming to the table to help get this done. But we got to make sure that our children are getting every opportunity and every advantage to compete. It just is not happening at the rate that it could be. And and I'm gonna just say this. I had some, and I mentioned this on my show the other day. I had somebody tell me that they were applying for a grant, and the people that do the grants started talking about the language that's in the grant. If it's saying it's helping underserved, underprivileged, Black, marginalized, diversity, these people are losing these grants. So money that typically would have been there to help for some of this stuff, it's a whole bunch of organizations, I keep saying, gonna find out. You're gonna have to come up with other ways to raise money, because the traditional resources that you had been able to rely on, they are backing off. They are afraid, intimidated, worried about the federal pressure, and you know, they moving around. That's why, I appreciate Costco. When everybody ran away from DEI, they doubled down. So, yes, sir. So that's it.
All right.
Thank you for letting me say that, though.
Oh, praise you. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your warm day.
Oh,
Kennedy's hibiscus tea.
Oh my God.
Can we just take a moment and shout that out?
Man, look, hold on. I got something for that.
And can we take a moment?
Listen.
And just shout out, the baby girl.
Man, listen.
And it was cold. It was right on time.
Well, I got mine a day late.
Yeah, well,
but it was still on time. it was still on time because I was thirsty when it came on that.
We came in here Friday morning. He was still salty. He was still salty Friday morning.
My arms was folded. I was popping.
He was like, "What's up, Jermaine?"
Yeah, what up? What up, Jack?
Well, I just thought it was so cool. We were blown away.
Yeah.
And kudos to Rhonda,
Miss Rhonda
Parris, who, like I said, we can't just celebrate Juneteenth and go shopping and eat turkey legs and not tell people why we're doing what we do. Mm-hmm. And so Kennedy was getting her education. Hibiscus is strongly celebrated with Juneteenth celebrations, or associated with Juneteenth celebrations, specifically the traditional red drink that has roots in West African culture and the transatlantic slave trade. This red drink, often made with hibiscus flowers, symbolizes freedom, resilience, and remembrance of ancestors. And so, just so folks know, it is a traditional drink that a lot of Black folks make on Juneteenth.
I'm sorry. Know your history.
That was one of those moments.
That was one of those.
And so the baby girl.
You know where she got it from? And same book Atlas has. Tell Me About Juneteenth.
Yes.
Wow.
And that was a book she read. And she also, and there's another great book out there. And you might want to get it from Atlas, is Leo's Lunchbox.
Okay.
Written by Senator Raphael Warnock.
Oh, I saw that recently.
We just finished that last week.
Okay.
Great book.
Yeah.
Kennedy started reading it. There's two books. I guess she could get chapter books, and then there are books like this. And so this book was, I don't know, we started reading it, and what it is, she reads it to me. Yeah. And hopefully, and she's understanding. But it's a great book. So for young people, if you have young people, it's a whole book about sharing and the power of sharing.
Okay.
And that's probably more
I saw it.
Reverend Warnock.
My family was at his church this Sunday. Yeah, I don't know if he was there. Our family reunion was in Atlanta.
I know he tries to get
Can you unplug that for me?
Every weekend.
But so was it her idea? Did Rhonda say, let's make this, or do you know?
She told Rhonda that she wanted to do the red drink. She remembered that from reading about Juneteenth. So
it was just all over her face. She was so proud.
Yeah.
That she had
couldn't
made
get her to
it.
get on
she
that
was
mic,
so
though,
thoughtful.
could we?
No, we couldn't get her to get on the mic.
Couldn't get her to get on
but she
that
was
mic.
so proud that she had made it. She was so thoughtful, and it was just the coolest thing. And the fact that this little bitty girl understood something about Juneteenth that many of the adults that was walking around down there, if you had said something to them about it, they wouldn't have even known what it was.
Yeah. Well, because she just has such a love for reading, that becomes fertile. So everything from the anti-racist baby, which she read. No,
go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to be rude. Go ahead.
No, go on.
Finish. No, I was just going to tell you, your boys is in town.
Who's that?
Khalil and Cam. They in town. They just got here Saturday. That's my nephews, the musicians.
Nice.
But they gone to camp already. So they are going to a 10-day camp.
Which one?
I know something near Boscobel.
Music camp?
No, it's
they way up
outdoor.
north.
Yeah.
Way up north.
And a group here from Milwaukee takes them. Free camp.
Oh.
They're gone for 10 days.
I'm gonna tell you, camp was.
They're gonna have a ball.
I love camp, man. Summer camp. Yeah. Kennedy wanted to get outside. She loves being outside, right? So waiting on her mom to come pick her up. She said, "I need nature. I need nature."
I love it. And somebody just sent it to
Oh,
me.
Lord,
Let me
I
look
can
it up.
picture.
I love the listeners to this show. So I said I mentioned the camp. Somebody just sent me the name of the camp. Peak Initiative.
Okay.
And I'll just for parents again looking for stuff for your children to do. Lake Valley Camp in Boscobel, Wisconsin is a purpose-built facility. Blah blah blah. Let me see what the part. Oh, camp. Is an 11-day, 10-night experience for 3rd through 11th grade campers. Variety of experiences: swimming, canoeing, horseback riding, team sports, team building, archery, gardening, cooking, outdoor exploration, camp outs, creative arts, performing arts, practical life skills. And these kids are gone. But I mean, literally, it's the coolest thing ever that they get these opportunities.
Well,
And so
there's a guy who calls from time to time who was a camper when I worked at camp. DJ's brother Vinny was out at camp. That was through now the Boys and Girls Club. And I had the great fortune in 1984 to be at the first session at Camp Wickham Mason where the girls actually came out as campers.
Oh, really?
It's going to be co-ed. Yeah. And
so
that
I think
first
on
group of
this one they
girls-
had the boys on one bus going up and the girls on another bus going up. And the person who was so gracious to give me the information, she said at this camp they also have a family camp.
Yeah. And
So-
the cool thing about girls in camp, other than fishing, is that they're great campers. And what I mean by they're great campers is
What you say other than fishing?
those little girls hated fishing, man. They go out, they get scared. I was too scared to put the worm on. You know, when they catch a fish, they didn't know what to do with it once they caught it. But it was out there. And then it was real interesting because it was in August. The session ends. I mean, the summer camp ends. Regular camp ends first week in August. And at the same time, there was also the university school women's field hockey team was out there with the first group of girls out there, women's field hockey. Well, women only play field hockey. And that was interesting. This was the first time. I'm going to tell you, this is why you love young people, man, because young people, they're on the edge, right? So these young ladies, instead of wearing gym trunks, they were wearing boxer shorts.
To do what?
That was their gym shorts. They wore boxers.
Boxer shorts.
Men boxers. Yep. Yep.
So I had to go look for it while you were talking. But there is a group called the Ebony Anglers. And this is a group of Black women who are fishers, professional fishers. And I know it's probably a better way to say fishers, but the Ebony Anglers, a team of 5 professional Black women, achieved a notable win at the Spanish Mackerel and Dolphin Tournament. Sabrina Thompson is a history-making Black female pro angler competing in the Bassmaster Central Open. Lisa Flathead is also highlighted for her passion for fishing and empowering women in Illinois. But they have a group called Black Girls Fish Too. And it is out of Illinois. So I just wanted, because I knew I had saw a story on this, and I was like, wait. And they showed the pictures of them, sisters out on the water, doing their thing. But I will say that I was traumatized on my first fishing outing. I went with my son's dad and his dad, and their boat stopped. The motor died out, and I can't swim. And he said, we're going to have to swim back to shore because the boat is gone. And I said, I can't swim. And I will say this. My son's grandfather tied a rope around his waist and tied it to that boat and swam back to shore.
And thank you for that. Folks, get your kids in swimming lessons.
Please.
Teach.
Please.
When you look at the disproportionate number of young Black people who drown because they do not know how to swim.
Yep.
We had all the God kids in swimming class. Rhonda's a swimmer. Rhonda's a swimmer.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's one of her better events when she does the triathlon. She's one of the few Black women that actually swim.
Yeah, no. I mean, we made sure. I think I sent videos. Atlas swims already. My son is an amazing swimmer, but his grandmother was an amazing swimmer. She taught the grandkids how to swim. I've taken lessons at least 5-6 times. I've never been able to get it down. But when I say I will never forget that, the dude put that rope around his waist and swam that boat to shore.
We had 2 young people. They went to Puerto Rico a week ago, and through school, I guess, and great opportunity. And there's something in I think it's Fajardo, and that would be on the southern side of the island, I'm thinking. So Rhonda and I went to Fajardo. There's something there called the Bioluminescent Bay.
Bioluminescent Bay.
Bioluminescent Bay.
Okay.
And what happens is, because of the chemical makeup of this water, when you touch it, it turns blue. I mean,
cool.
like this, you got to do it at night. That's when it's great. But in order to get to that inlet, that little bay, you have to kayak. All right.
What?
Rhonda and I.
You swim?
No, it wasn't the swimming piece of it.
What's the problem?
It was the kayaking. Me and Rhonda, because you have to coordinate when you kayak,
right?
Two in the kayak,
right?
We couldn't coordinate, so they had to pull us out there.
No.
Then they had to pull us back.
No.
Everybody is back. Me and her get ready to go to jail or kill each other trying to kayak. But it's cool. It's worth it, man. You like I say, you want to do it at night, because when you touch it, the water just it turns blue. It's
that
crazy.
Sounds amazing.
It's amazing. So I know they said that they were going to Fajardo. And here's the great thing about Fajardo. There was this guy there with one arm. He had this chicken on the stick. It was worth the drive.
That's your memory.
Oh man. Well, yeah, because the kayak was just the one arm cook, man. I mean, and they talked about this guy. You know, if you talk to people in Puerto Rico, they go, oh yeah, that guy. But I don't know what his secret was. I'm sure people do it all the time, because I saw there was an Asian food truck where they were doing, they called them, I don't know, some type of Chinese hamburger.
Okay.
But it was basically on a stick, the way they did it. Yeah. Yeah. And it was, there was a significant number of Asian food trucks.
Where?
At Juneteenth.
Oh, at June.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. I know I passed too.
Really?
Yeah, at Juneteenth. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
it'd be great if somebody make a historical connection, but okay.
Well,
no. I mean, because it's probably one. Leave it to us. We
like Chinese food.
We everywhere. But I'm gonna tell you, if you've never had an opportunity to go sit out on the Milwaukee River and watch the row teams. So we would do it up in Madison, but not far from the Capitol, just beautiful. But to be out there when they rowing, and I mean, it is like magic watching them. And when the girls come, when the boys do it, everybody like, oh, okay, that's cool. Hey, Byron, I see you sitting over there. But when the women come through, everybody get excited.
The fitness level of those folks on those cruises,
I imagine,
man, it is just amazing. And we used to go to East Potomac Park and watch them on the Potomac River, going past they would go up to Georgetown, come back down going towards Virginia. That was the course to watch them. So yeah, that the movie The Boat is about that, but this idea that the level of strength and coordination that's required to be on a crew.
Well, if you've never done it, watching the women is beautiful.
Because they go up as far as what is that, Estabrook? Does it go as far as Estabrook? Because is the dam still there? The little waterfall still? I haven't been up in that park.
But I know it's gorgeous.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get out your way. Look, I might as well stay at them. Thank you for my $1.
Oh, that's your offer.
Yeah. See, since you was reading that good word, you take that $1 and you apply that to your life. Amen. I felt like a preacher right there. Amen.
Apply this to my life.
Yeah, 4 quarters.
4 quarters.
4 quarters. One for the Father.
My life under the bridge. I mean, where's my life?
That 4 make 1.
Where's my life going with this? Hey, Keith.
Huh?
What's up with the church folks shooting people, man?
Yeah, in Michigan, man. That cat mama was going to the church. He pulled up at the church, hit the church, and got out shooting, man. And
the church people
was
killed
it a Baptist church?
It might be a Church of Latter-day Saints. It might be
It was no church
Oh.
allowed. What you talking about? Oh my God. But I thought of you right away. Because because we came up on the 10th anniversary of the shooting in Little Rock. Was that Little Rock?
No, there wasn't Carolina.
North Carolina. South Carolina. And one of the things that people have been talking about is shoring up the security in these capitals because of what's going on in Iran right now. And I remember, me and Lakeisha was talking about this a couple of days ago when Representative Malcolm Kenyatta came to Black Advocacy Day at the Capitol. Dude walked in our Capitol and he was like, and Keisha was like, what? He said, y'all ain't scared up in here? And Keisha's like, what are you talking about? Y'all don't have no security protocol for coming up in this building. And you can come in on 4 different sides.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, oh, no, this would never fly at home.
But can't you carry a firearm?
Yeah, you can carry in the Capitol.
Into the Capitol?
Thank you, Republicans.
So can you? So as a is it CCW
private citizen,
or
you
is it
carry
just
your gun
open
into
carry?
the Capitol?
Yeah.
So
it be Republican legislators be having their gun on their side.
And that's what made was it 2011 when Act 10 passed and all the protest that was going on? You didn't see any heightened security. They had a few more state troopers there.
Yeah.
But you had access to the building.
So the whole crazy thing about it with the law that is an open carry state, you can have somebody walk in there that's having a bad day, that's having mental issues, that's legally able to carry a firearm and just snap out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they call them soft targets.
Yeah. I mean, and until he said it, yeah, and we've talked about security before.
He's from Tennessee, right?
Yeah. No, Malcolm is from Pennsylvania.
Wow. They might have, I don't know if they have different gun laws.
Well, no, he said even in their court, coming in their Capitol, it's like going into our courthouse downtown. You have to be screened in, gun, metal detector check, all this different stuff. But you just can't come in there. And it's like a one-way in. And
that was real interesting when we were having these spates of public, shootings, and the debate on whether or not they were going to put metal detectors down at 12th and Believe. Oh. And I think they opted. They certainly weren't there when I was there. They opted not to, and it's interesting because Will Martin used to run Employment Solution, and they had a little dust up there, and. You got to know Will Martin, right? So that happened like on a Thursday, Friday. We came in. Will had turned everything around, had put in metal detectors, and they had to take them out because people felt like that would be a deterrent for people coming to apply for public benefits. So it really is a balanced courthouse. They had put some safety things in, like we were talking about the glass. You go in the courtrooms now, you have glass up because people have literally jumped, and they got a whole TV show where they show people going crazy in courtrooms.
Yeah. Court TV.
Dude, this is cool.
But you remember the one that lady shot that man in the head? He had molested her son.
So remember that guy from here, and I think his last name was Ball.
Oh, I know why we went to it.
So when they had that shootout,
the bus driver that got stabbed on the 7th floor, she came down for a restraining order.
What?
And dude stabbed her and killed her on the 7th floor. Yep. What? At the courthouse. Yep.
Really?
Yeah. That's, not even think about, with those buildings, because have you ever been to the Capitol? That security, man, they call
the
it
U.S. Capitol.
Yeah, they call it the visitor center.
Yeah.
That's security check. That's the way that, and then you watch people just kind of, man, back when I was going to school out there, you literally could wander through the entire Capitol. I mean, you could be on the grounds. It was, because I think the only time prior to anything was when there was the Puerto Rican Nationals went in during the Eisenhower administration and shot up the Capitol. Yeah. All right, you listen to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
FM with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back. We have a few minutes left. So Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Kevin Durant to Houston. I was just having this conversation earlier with one of my guys that live in Houston, and I think Jalen Green is going to be a star, man.
You think?
I think Jalen Green is going to be like Anthony Edwards. I don't know if it's going to be the right situation for him in Phoenix with him and Devin Booker because you don't have a true point guard over there. But
Phoenix has never won an NBA championship, have they?
Nope. From Charles Barkley to Dan Marley to Tom Chambers and
Connie Hawkins.
Connie Hawkins. Yeah, man, they never won.
The report was they was looking to move Jalen Green.
Yeah,
like
they
he had
moved
never. No, I'm saying like he'll never play a game with the Suns.
Oh, in
they
Phoenix.
already got Bill. They already got Book.
Yeah.
That's like three of the same
so
players.
yeah, so now I heard this, and I was reading some reports. Now I pray and hoping that the Bucks don't do this, but they was talking about packaging Damian Lillard, and I believe it was Pat Connaughton to Phoenix.
He just opted into
for, huh?
Pat Connaughton just opted in.
Yeah, he just opted in. So that's why they can use that contract in the deal. They were talking about trading Damian Lillard. Million. Yeah, $9 million. Pat Connaughton to Phoenix for Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal would have to sign off on it. And I'm like, that'll be the stupidest trade because they talking about running Giannis at the point, so he'll be the point forward. But don't trade Dame and Pat Connaughton for Bradley Beal. If you're gonna trade Dame, I say if you're gonna trade Dame and Pat, go younger, man.
It's gonna be hard, man. There'd have to be a really, really struggling franchise. I say this because Damian Lillard is gonna be a year older.
Yeah.
Now he's not gonna play next year.
Well, no. They actually just because Doc Rivers kind of said something when they interviewed him and said that it's looking like it's a great possibility that he will be back before the playoffs. I mean, possibly sooner than that.
I think the players are beginning to push back in terms of the three Achilles injuries we had. All three of them had something in common. They had calf injuries prior to.
Yeah.
And the calf had not fully healed. And they all went down the same way, pushing off, no contact.
And there's actually one more that you probably didn't even think about. They all wore the number 0.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out this morning. They all had on 0.
You got to get rid of that 0 and get with a hero, man.
0, man. I'm not sure but yeah,
man. They all wore the number 0. The which is eerie, but I mean, I just think, man, if you plan the 82 game season, plus the tournament, plus the playoffs. So you playing close to 100-some games,
and
man.
They were making the argument this morning that star players are doing more. They have to do more.
Yeah.
And so then they're more susceptible to injuries. But those three Achilles, they all had something
in the same
common.
season. It's
and then they tell you can't win any awards unless you play what?
A certain amount of games.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 60-something games you have to play.
And that's incentives in your contract.
Yeah.
And that's the other piece they're out there paying. But look, the way the NBA, unlike the NFL where you got 100,000 people in the stands, you got 8 home games. So, you making a whole lot of money. The NBA, they got to kind of be on the floor. But then when you just look at, and then, people get upset with load management because if you just drop $100 for a ticket and you came expecting to see Giannis and they're sitting Giannis because of load management, and the obvious thing is that you don't want to see Giannis get hurt or be at his freshest during the playoffs. But that expectation that people have, because look, man, I pay to see the star, man. I mean that's part of. It's still a star-driven league.
I just believe in that the NBA is so greedy because they don't want to cut back on an 82-game season.
But see, the players are complicit in that because I think, unlike the NFL, I think it's a 60-40 split with the revenue.
Yeah.
So the most powerful union they have is the NBA Players Association. They're the most powerful union. So when And look, people should get paid because guess what, man? When you get injured, you done.
Yeah, pretty much, because
You
they
done.
either gonna trade you or they gonna kick you off to the curb,
Right.
and it's gonna mess with your
Now,
money.
the
So
good thing about the NBA is the guaranteed contract, which is also a bad thing, right?
yeah,
Because that means that you got to pay someone who may or may not be productive, certainly not earning the money that you're paying them, but it's always the business part of it.
but that's the give and take too with it, because if you're gonna demand that I play a certain amount of games for me to qualify for certain perks, which is gonna boost up my contract value, then on the opposite end, you should guarantee me something.
But in the NFL, let's say all you need is 50 yards to get
And they
that
will hold
bonus.
you back.
They'll hold you back.
And which let's talk about the NBA. Dominique Wilkins has an interview that he talks about what David Stern did, how he came to the coaches, told the coaches don't play his starters. They wanted David Robinson to get the scoring title that year, and that's when he scored 71 points against them. But David Stern sent word down to take all of your good players out, take your starters out, don't play them for the second half, because they wanted David Robinson to get it and not Shaquille. That right there, now all this stuff is coming out from players that really haven't got their money after retirement and all this other stuff, and they starting to voice stuff that has been happening.
But then on the flip side of that, you have whoever it was that worked with Allen Iverson, where he did the deferred money.
Oh yeah,
and that
Yeah.
he didn't get the money until he turned 50.
yeah.
So you have that, and I know Dr. Myers always in July. I don't know if we're still on Bobby Bonilla Day, where Bobby Bonilla was getting $1 million a year. I don't know how much time he still has left on that contract. Bobby Bonilla ain't played in 20 years.
Wow.
Let me do Bobby Bonilla Day. It's in July. Bobby Bonilla Day. Here we go. July 1st. Let's see. Bobby Bonilla is an informal holiday celebrated on July 1st when the New York Mets make an annual deferred payment to former player Bobby Bonilla. The payment is part of a contract buyout agreement made in 2000, where the Mets agreed to defer $5.9 million payment with 8% interest, paying him $1.19 million annually from 2011 to 2035.
Oh my God.
That means he still got 9 more years where he gets 1.19 million money. That was the deferred amount. Instead of and in some ways you don't think about it. You might want money, you might need the bills, but that whole idea that you're not going to be able to play forever, and that income stream is very different from when you have that active player contract, and unless you have endorsements of other business people like you, somebody like Junior Bridgman, just a savvy business person. I give you somebody else, Pat Connaughton.
Oh yeah, though he owned real estate.
Right. I mean, you go in and begin because you're not going to play forever. ESPN did a great documentary called Broke, and it talked about athletes and how many athletes have filed bankruptcy, gone into financial hardship. You know what was amazing? It was across every sport. It had no racial. It was white players. It was black players. Wow. It was Hispanic players. They talked about, let's say I'm the hot shot, pro football, high school, I'm the dude. College, I'm going to do. I'm looking at a pro contract. They just break down why, when you think it's a whole lot of money, especially for football players, it's not. They said some of these guys already start off with a child support obligation, right? Yeah. Then you got taxes, right? Yeah. Then you're going to buy mama a house, okay? Yeah. So all these things you do, not to mention then when these dudes, because they easy prey, people selling them jewelry, like there are people out there who they're like outfitters. Yeah. They create your style. Yeah. Because what's his name?
Shay
Westbrook.
Oh, yeah, he got his own line.
He got his own line. Who did he do? Was it Caitlin Clark? There was somebody he did in the WNBA. Wow. So you got that. So you going in and look, where you and I might drop $100 for a T-shirt, and that's a whole lot. They selling them $1,000 T-shirts.
Yeah, and catching off of them.
Yeah, so just your money, and then you're not thinking long term. There's some people very smart. They go in and they begin to do long term. Well, look, I'll take this amount of money, put it in an annuity. That money's gonna make money. So when I'm not playing, I still got to go in. And then this was something that found out with O.J. Simpson, and I found out also working at child support. They can't garnish an NFL pension.
Oh, really?
You can't garnish an NFL pension. And I don't know
Why
if
is
it's all
that?
the other pension. I don't know if it's something the way that pension is set up and the way it's established, but legally they cannot. So there was a football player, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to get money from him. It's amazing. So for all those women out there who think I'm going to have a player's baby and think that you're going to be eaten, it really depends on the player.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It same thing with entertainers. When you look at the number of people out there that has had an entertainer's baby,
oh yeah,
and then trying to good luck getting the money.
Yeah.
They ain't paying the taxes,
Yeah.
so good luck on you thinking you're gonna get the child support. There's this one sister. I'm trying to remember who the entertainer was. He was paying her $15,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and she said that wasn't enough.
Yeah, I remember reading that. She said that it wasn't enough for her to take care of her and the child and pay her monthly expenses. I do recall reading
And see,
that.
and there's examples like that dudes be going, see what she is, see what she about, see da. But then it ain't just Phil Buchanan, defensive back, came from the U, defensive back, many years, great defensive back for the Indianapolis Colts. His mama came in and said, "You owe me $1 million."
His mama?
His mama.
What? Why? But she took
For
care
the
of
9 months I carried you,
no charge. Yeah, I guess
he
she
was
said.
looking at her like, "You crazy?" First of all, I didn't ask to be born. Let's start there. That was a choice you and my daddy made. But because you and my daddy made that choice, you and my daddy, y'all responsible for taking care of me. What?
Yeah.
So I mean, you think about family. Who's my guy? Bernie Kosar. His father. He give his father money. His father just messed up all his money. So sometimes it's friends and family. Win the lottery and want every relative
listen.
come out the woodwork.
Some people that ain't even your cousins is gonna be your cousins.
So I told people, what's the first thing you gonna do when you win the lottery? Change my phone number.
Man, this up here.
And I'm thinking, but when you hit your good fortune, did you call me and say, "Hey man, I just hit this. I want to hook you up"?
I got
no,
not at all.
I don't know why people feel like you're obligated. That whole issue with Aaron Rodgers and his family. Where I don't know if it's a financial piece, but this idea that I kind of owe my family, and that not to say I shouldn't take care of my family, but this idea that people feel like what was it? Was that the Bow Wow movie? The ticket?
Oh yeah, the ticket. Yeah. Bow Wow don't need got the ticket. Yeah.
You got the ticket, and everybody in the neighborhood feel like they need to get a piece of it.
Yeah.
When I was broke,
nobody
was. Human beings are just amazing, man. This idea of entitlement and expectations, that you got. Now, I'm not gonna say if Gary and Francine wins the lottery, I'm not calling.
Now, I mean, to be honest with you, if I win 100 million, of course I'm going to give my loved ones some money or put them in position
Now,
that they can take that
who
money.
are your loved ones?
That's off the air. But
yeah.
but no, seriously. I mean, for me, man, I'm going to give my family something or put them in position that they can take whatever I give them and flip it that is longevity for them. Now, you're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to do something. I'm not going to just give you this and then you run out and then think you're going to come back. No, I'm giving you a jump start.
One of the reasons why it was so difficult for Whitney Houston was that Whitney should not have been performing.
Yeah.
Whitney should have went and got the help she needed,
Yeah.
but the family eating because of Whitney.
Yeah.
You know, and then when her old man sue her, you know, I mean, it because money does that, man.
It do.
Money, boy, everything cool, but when you start messing around with money,
talking about them dollars is
man, it crazy.
You right, Doc.
Crazy.
You're 110% right.
All right, man. Well, we got through another one.
Man, it's hot as a fool outside, and oh, that's my boy CJ. It's hot outside, man. It feels like 198 degrees. I've been taking some sausage and bacon out there, and
somebody pointed something out though.
What's that?
They were saying they said that he's 98.3. They said there was a fever. They were talking about the fever.
Yeah.
I said that's not a fever. That's normal temperature.
That's normal temperature. Yeah, the fever is like 100 and plus, ain't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yikes.
Let me thank Debo, Byron, Jermaine,
Yes,
Michelle.
sir. Yes, sir.
Callers, we thank you. Good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.